This is Blazers Sports Center.
Welcome to the Blair Sports Show. I'm Arpan Ghosh.
And I'm Philip O'Brien. Blair Sports had an exciting month. The girls' soccer team began the season with a commanding win over the Gaithersburg Trojans. The score was 5-0, a complete shutout by the Montgomery Blair Blazers.
Junior forward Lisa Bianchini scored the first goal of the season and followed it with two others in the second half. The defense shut down the Trojans, and starting goalie Lena Meyerson had to make very few saves the entire game.
Wow, that's impressive. The girls' soccer team had an uneven beginning of the season. With only one of their first 7 games did both teams playing score. This includes 3 shutouts by the Blazers, and they themselves being shut out twice. Their record currently stands at 3-2-3.
Our girls' soccer team hosted Good Counsel on September 10th. They fell behind quickly and were unable to generate enough offensive power to come back. The final score was 0 for Blair and 6 for Good Counsel.
The girls' soccer team had a tough early schedule, and later that same day, the Blazers had a 3-0 shutout of Georgetown Visitation. Junior forward Anna Cordone scored an early goal off an assist from Anya Opschel. Delia Trimble scored from a free kick, and Chera Barclay scored the third and final goal, 31 minutes into the game.
The girls lost 3 days later to the Quince Orchard Cougars. Their defense played well for most of the game, but let in a late goal. Unfortunately, their offense couldn't score. Any doubts about the strength of our girls soccer team were put to rest though, when the next week they played one of the greatest games Blair girls soccer has ever seen. On September 19th at Northwood High School around 7 o'clock in the evening, the Lady Blazers blasted through Northwood's defense and scored 3 goals in the first 15 minutes of the game. The score at the end of the first half was an incredible 9-1, and the only goal scored by Northwood was an own goal by Blair.
Striker Jamie Cator set the tone early, scoring 2 goals in 2 minutes. By the end of the day, 7 different Blazers had scored, including a hat trick by Melissa Romero and 2 goals by Alicia Tanny. Defender Mimi Verdonk scored the final goal in the 79th minute of the game, making the final score 11-1.
What a game. Nice job, Lady Blazers. The next week, the Blazers fought a strong 4-1-1 Walsh Johnson team to a 0-0 tie, a defensively dominated game. This was the 4th shutout of the year for goalie Lena Meyerson and the Blazers' outstanding defense.
The girls' varsity volleyball team had an exciting home opener against Einstein Titans. Senior co-captain Nika Lili had an amazing game, finishing the night with a total of 24 kills.
The Blazers struggled with some errors, but they bounced back and capitalized on Einstein's weaknesses. It was their first win.
The boys' varsity soccer team started off slow with losses to DeMatha and BCC, not scoring a single goal in their first 2 games. But they bounced back, responding with 3 wins in a row, scoring combined 13 goals and only allowing 1 in these 3 games. Kevin Fallett scored a goal in the first half against BCC and scored a spectacular goal in the last minutes of the game.
On the 19th, the boys' soccer team hosted Northwood and completely shut out their opponents. During the game, it seemed as if Northwood's defense was asleep from the beginning. Our Blazers capitalized on that and scored 2 goals early on in the game.
Fallett scored the final goal near the end of the second half, making the score 3-0 Blair.
The girls' varsity field hockey team had a tough schedule ahead of them. They started the season with a 7-0 loss against a very talented Walter Johnson team.
In their first 5 games, the field hockey team struggled, dropping all these and failing to score consistently. But keep in mind that this is a very young field hockey team, playing against some very experienced girls. The 1 goal scored against Magruder displayed the team's never-give-up attitude that they had throughout the game.
They managed to get their first win on the 24th, defeating Einstein. Their offense came alive, scoring 4 goals, twice as many as the rest of the season combined, and their defense was solid throughout. The varsity boys football team has a tough schedule, starting off their season with a loss against a very strong BCC team.
Early on in the season, the football team suffered from injuries to key players and starters, making it difficult to adjust to new players. Starting senior nose tackle and punter Mario Rodas left the first game of the season with a dislocated shoulder, and starting right tackle Sorrel Gostin suffered from a sprained ankle.
Starter David Chow also sprained his ankle, and Wes Thatch hurt his shoulder during the second half of the game. The Blazers were still able to score a touchdown against BCC. The final score was 6 Blair, 21 BCC.
The next week, the Blazers played the #1 team in the DMV area, Quince Orchard. The atmosphere was tense, and QO capitalized on their home field. The final score of the game was 42 Quince Orchard, 6 Blair.
The home opener against Wheaton High School started off with Blair's best opening play. The first play of the game, a kickoff return by senior wingback Peter Gondor, resulted in a thrilling 75-yard touchdown.
Wheaton quickly retaliated, but saw a fierce comeback led by Peter Gondor. During the first half, the referees called back 2 touchdowns, one by Peter Gondor and another by fullback Kenyon Bundy.
In the second half, Wheaton entered with a lead, and the Blazers responded with a great touchdown run by quarterback Robert Klingman. 2 more touchdowns would later be called back with only 5 minutes left in the game. Robert Klingman, who played the whole game, threw an interception that eventually resulted in a touchdown for Wheaton. The Blazers were not able to bounce back.
The final score was 22 Wheaton, 20 Blair. The Blazers' bad fortunes continued next Friday after being shut out by Sherwood, 35-0. 2 of Sherwood's touchdowns were fumble returns, and another was set up by a fumble. Key players Robert Klingman and Peter Gondor were injured in the second half and had to leave the game.
That's all we have for this month's installation of Blair Sports Center.
Thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you next time on Blazer Sports Center.